I'm Scott Fishman.
I'm John Dwoskin.
And this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, John, good morning.
Fish, good morning. What's going on?
Not much. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Doing terrific, man. Good to be back.
It is good to be back. I'm sitting here holding my, as I showed you, my new dog. We got a second dog.
What's up, Cooper?
Hey, Cooper. Well, Cooper, welcome to the podcast.
Let everyone know what kind of dog Cooper is.
He's a toy poodle, and he's now the younger brother of our multi-poo, Ollie.
He's really cute.
Yeah, he's a good boy. It was a puppy dog close. My wife and Joanna and Aria walked into a dog store that we know, Teacups and Toys. They fell in love. They put the dog in their hands, and it was love at first sight. And then that was it.
It's hard to say
dog
no.
close. It's hard to say no. Yeah. A couple sleepless nights, but still worth it.
Very cool. So while we're talking about closing, John,
yeah,
what should we talk about today? Taking us back to sales.
Yeah, I think we should talk about how to close more. And I think one of the best ways we've talked about this on the show in the past, to double your sales, double your asks. And let's talk about how to ask more effectively so you can actually get the sale instead of dance around the sale.
Right. And I'm going to pull a little Simon Sinek on you here, and let's start with the why. Why do we need to close more?
Well, I think it's a couple reasons. One, I'm going to get away from the pipeline for a second, but one, I think it's good for us to stretch ourselves out of our comfort zones, to take our skill set and to really put it in the field. I mean, I think a lot of times people train and they role play and they this, but then when it really comes to bringing it to life, it gets kind of scary. And so I think from just a self-confidence standpoint and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, I think that's the inner why. And then the external why would be because you're going to grow your business. By growing your business and generating more clients, you're going to get more experience. You're going to get more comfortable. And you're going to grow your pipeline, and you're going to make more money. You're going to be able to rise the ranks if you want to in your company, and you're going to be able to do a lot more for yourself, and you're going to be able to do a lot more for the world.
Oh, wow. For the whole world. Right. We're thinking locally and acting globally. I love it.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, listen, you do more, you can give more, right? You get more and have more. Hopefully, you can give a little bit more. And I'm not. So it's all a big circle.
And John, there's a word that I want to key in on that you said comfortable. And that's part of the reason why we don't close, I think.
Right.
That we get stuck in that comfort zone of here's where we are. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone in order to get uncomfortable, to ask the uncomfortable questions. And what I found, even in the past, where I'm like, gosh, what could I change? I go back and I look, and it really is sometimes just as simple as I'm presenting, I'm having great conversations, I'm not asking for the business.
Right.
Even if I've earned it, I'm still not asking for some darn reason, whether it's fear, whether it's, hey, I don't think I have to. I've been so good on my other calls that people have just jumped in the boat, and I'm not actually just asking the simple questions.
Right. And I think a lot of it has to do with, and I know we're not psychologists, but a lot of it has to do with understanding what your own value is and the value that you're bringing to somebody else. And that's, I think, a very hard concept that needs to always evolve, especially with salespeople. And with the ask is, I think, Fish, and what have I found, and I've found out because it's always been an evolution for me as well, is after you build the trust and after you build the relationship, sometimes there's that uncomfortable space. And that's the space I think we're talking about right now. That space where, you got a great relationship, you got a great rapport, and you think to yourself, well, I want to go in for the kill, but I also don't want to sound like this is what I hear from salespeople, a used car salesperson. I don't want to sound shady. I don't want to sound salesy. But
Right.
but you're building to ask in that space. And if you don't ask, then you kind of lose the window, and I think it just gets harder.
Yeah, I love that you said you lose the window, because it's so true. There, just as you are uncomfortable when you're working up to that close, your prospect is uncomfortable too. You should both be building into that discomfort of what's going to happen next. You're riding the roller coaster together. You're up there. They're talking to you because they want your product or because they need your product. You're showing them all the reasons why they want and need it and how you're a good fit. And we're all the way up at the top of the roller coaster, and then sometimes we say, just kidding. And we don't actually ask for the business, and everybody feels better, but they don't feel as good as they could. Everyone feels a little bit better because the butterflies go away. But if you actually get them to the level where they're doing business with you, they're solving the problem that they came to you to solve, you're actually, I mean, let's face it, you're making money because you're making a sale. Everybody wins versus when we got off the roller coaster, nobody lost.
Right.
So different.
Right.
So you're just asking that simple question and getting their answer, and it might be a no. Great. That's when the sale starts anyway. That's when we then begin selling and work towards a yes. But when you don't even ask the question, no one lost, but no one gained.
Right. And what I love about what you're talking about is qualifying people early. When you ask and you put it out there, then you're qualifying, is this a potential client or not? And again, I agree with you. It begins with no, but at least you kind of now can gauge where your questions and where you can stimulate potential activity to generate interest and show the value that what you can do for your client. And so I think I just want to kind of add one additional thing to that is, before we get into the ask, is our clients want to be led by us. They need someone to take control. They are busy in their days of whatever they're doing. They are running their businesses. They've got a billion things going on. They want somebody who can say, hey, here's where you are. Let me lead you. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you how I can how I'm in control and I can do X, Y, and Z. And so you got to take control at some point, and the control is in the ask. And it doesn't mean you are controlling, but you need to control that element of the conversation so you can lead the client to some clarity.
Yes. I love it, John. You're putting a pivot point in your conversation. When you're asking, you're actually staking a claim to that real estate right there.
Correct.
So you're there, you own this. And then depending on where the conversation goes, you could pivot from there, but you're at least making, I don't know what it's called, where you're putting a stake in and claiming it as part of the conversation, and you're moving it forward. You're not just stagnating.
Right. And so a line that I hate saying a line, but after you have had a conversation with a client and you've figured out their pain and you've built rapport and you've built trust and you understand the client and what's going on with them, it's okay to say something like the following. Mr. or Mrs. Client, the reason you need to hire me is because. Mr. or Mrs. Client, the reason clients like you hire me is because. And take different variations of that. It changes the energy of the conversation of, I'm not giving you free information. I'm of value to you. I'm of service to you. And that changes it to say, you need to now shift your mindset to hiring me because of the value I can bring and make you money. And if you, as a salesperson, I think to yourself, I know I do, for every $20 you pay me, you're going to get $100 in value, or some type of equation in that way.
Right.
And so it's okay to ask, because if they say, nope, it's not a fit. Okay, well, then it's our ego that gets bruised, or we feel uncomfortable or insecure because we asked for something and then we got shot down. Totally normal. Been there. I'm sure, Fish, you have too.
Yeah.
But the more we go through that, the more we build that muscle memory so we can continue to ask, and we will start to see way more yeses than nos, and the nos may come back, and the nos are always going to sting. At least for me, they always sting a little bit. They always, because I'm always kind of looking in the mirror and saying, how could I have done it differently? Did I do it too soon? But regardless how I feel, if I feel or when I feel that way, I still rise above it.
Rise above, John. So it's funny how you talk about the nose stinging a little more, because it's crazy as salespeople what we do. When you think about our conversion rates, maybe 10% conversion rate is good.
Right.
So that means for every one yes that feels okay,
right.
You get 9 no's that sting like an MF,
right.
which is crazy. Like, so
right.
what are we doing with this? Like, how did we choose these careers? This is crazy. But I guess maybe for us, we learn from each one. Maybe we're growing.
Yeah.
There's many reasons, obviously financial reasons to get into sales. However, yes, we get kicked in the what a lot in this industry. That's crazy.
Right. But the difference, if you look at, I love that fish. But here's how I look at it too. If you keep on asking just from a straight numbers game, just from a conversion, you're going to close more deals. And so if you double your ass, if you triple your ass, you're going to close more. So if you can get out of your comfort zone and say to yourself, I only got to close, I'm just throwing out a number, 5 more deals a year. If you add 1 ask every day, your probability will lean towards you're going to get those 5 extra deals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Versus just only dancing around it, putting someone on a mailing list, which I think all of this is important, putting them on a mailing list, putting them on your drip campaign and waiting for them to decide. There are plenty of people that can wait to decide, but you also need to that tranche where you need to say, hey, let me tell you why you should hire me, because I can help you with X, Y, and Z. Well, no, we don't have the budget. We're not ready. Call us in 3 months. Okay, that's fine. But here's the reasons when we do talk, the reasons you should hire me is because clients like you, when they hire me, I can work with you on X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. And you're going to experience boom, boom, and boom. Paint the picture, paint the narrative.
Right. I love it. And then your drip campaign obviously reminds them of X, Y, and Z and 1, 2, and 3 separately to show the benefit that you're bringing and not just the features that you're bringing. So I love that, man. Great. I mean, John, what more can we say? We're having coffee this morning. Coffee's for closers, as they say. But we must close. We have to remember, guys, that's one of the main things that, we're in sales. Always be closing, they say. And at the end of the day, it's one thing. As we progress, as we get better, as we make sales, and we see people just jumping in the boat from our influence and our persuasion without having to ask, we forget, we get lazy, and we stay comfortable. We have to get uncomfortable, live there. It's a great place to be.
I will end with a story that I'm almost positive we've shared on this podcast before, but the story about the boiling frog, which is if you put a frog in boiling water, it will jump right out. But if you put a frog in warm water and bring it to a slow boil, it gets very complacent and will boil itself. It will be boiled to death. And so if you stay too comfortable, then you obviously aren't going to boil yourself to death, but your pipeline and everything will stay just stagnant. And for all of you salespeople out there who are working in pits or in offices with other salespeople, and you're going to conventions and there is company training and you're role playing and you're doing workshops, you are better than you are today. You are better today than you were yesterday. And the same level of consciousness that got you to where you are right now when you listen to this will not get you to where you want to grow your business and pipeline tomorrow. So step out of your comfort zone, and I'm going to challenge everyone to add 1 ask a day.
1 ask a day. That's all you need. I'm going to make one more challenge to everybody. John mentioned going into these trainings and learning. When you go into these trainings and learning, you can go in one of 2 ways. One way is, I got to go to another training. I'm going to be off the sales floor. Gosh, what's happening? Or you can go in, gosh, I have more free training. I'm learning. I have an opportunity to grow and better my business. It should be the latter, obviously, because Amen. When you think about it, when you say, I got to get off the sales floor, what were you doing on the sales floor anyway? Chances are 20% of the time you were on Facebook or Instagram or your cell phone. 20% of the time you were working, and the rest of the time you were doing grab ass with whatever, with the people around you, or wasting time in some way, you are not being fully productive. So you might as well learn something. Take the time out of your day to get better and grow.
Love it. Love it. It's a mic
John.
drop, Fish. It's a mic drop.
All right. Consider the mic drop, folks.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period. The end.
What he said.